in the medical school, you can begin simple study, then you can lay the foundation, you know basics, what is pre-research phase, what is research phase, what is post-research phase, what is publication, and all. So it will be easy path for people forward.
Hello guys, we are back again with yet another episode and a very special one. I am Pratna.
I am Manita.
First, let me thank all of you for supporting us throughout this journey.
We all are familiar with the word research and how important role it plays in medicine. When the health practice has evolved into being evidence-based practice, its importance has been highlighted more. But we as a medical student are always in a dilemma about how to get into this high-fi field. I'm sure you all might have come across this many times, so here we are trying to dwell into the topic.
And oh, I'm so excited! We have an amazing human being, our very own senior and alumni of NIHS, as our guest today, who will help us navigate through various avenues of research. He has also donned many professional hats, from being a favorite student in medical college, to being a competent doctor, to paving his way into research like very few. We have Dr. Dhan Shrestha with us today.
We would want to start the interview with you, and it's a pleasure that you agreed so readily, and we've always been inspired by you. Almost everyone from NIHS has been inspired by you, so we have a list of few questions and would be happy to hear what you have to say so that it acts as a guidance to each and every junior that follows you.
Okay, thank you for considering me in this session. Basically, being proactive in this field is the most. Until and unless you initiate it, you won't know how to proceed, and everything will just behind. And by knowing that you guys are so proactive in this sort of activities, I'm really happy to see you people raising so many issues, like which is not included in our curriculum, being a student in medical college. So with best wishes ahead, I would like to thank again being considering me in this session. So without further delay, let's proceed.
Sure. So first of all, before diving into this complexity of the research, we'd really like to know that when was your first article published, and do you remember how you had felt at that time? Were you excited, you're nervous, or you're just sailing around thinking that what's the normal thing to happen, or how was it?
Oh yeah, in this resource field, to get involved itself is really a praising issue for like a medical student and any other student or field member in the medical field. So it was in my 4th year when I had graduated from my 3rd year MBBS. 2016, in year 2016, my first paper got published, and actually that was the second article I was working on. First was already completed, but it took pretty long time to get consideration in publication. So it was associated with forensic medicine. So in Okama University Journal, after suggestion by the professor, we submit there, and that was considered for the publication. Obviously, it will be a moment of joy and to cherish with the colleague who are involved in those research work. I shared those publications in the social platform like Facebook and all, and it was a joyous moment for me.
Yes, and we have been reading your articles. Like whenever you share it, we're so excited that, oh, there's a new article from Dhan, and you know, it's a joyous moment for us as well.
Thank you. Actually, why I do share my paper to the colleague and all is like, this is the way we get feedback. Actually, now many journals allow for the preprint publication, and that's the time when we get so many critical comments and critiques, so that we can revise our manuscript further, so that that will be more upgraded and more revised one, and that is less prone to have error, so that there will be other post-publication issue. So to get that, to increase the readership, as well as another way is if someone are wishing to have research as a beginner, they can get some insight where to work.
Right.
There is two way. One thing is they can replicate that sort of research work. Another is they can use the question raised by that publication so that they can push it forward. Like if I did some sort of prevalence study and risk factor analysis, then after knowing prevalence, they can do further. As well as if they want to replicate same prevalence and risk factor assessment in the another community, they can do that. So it is like providing them opportunity as well as guiding them. So for that, I do share with my platform, and people around can get and read those things.
Thank you so much, Tai, for sharing your works as well. So it'll help everyone who come after you to guide us to venture into this vast field of research as well. So we have a second question. So the importance of involvement of medical students in research has always been a topic of discussion. We have always been discussing that research is so important. So what do you think personally, how important a role research can play in the life of a medical student?
Well, so as you raised the question, it is very relevant, and all medical students must know how to conduct a research when they will graduate, because this is like part of our study. Though in our curriculum it is mentioned, it is not so emphasized part. Like we do visit community in the first year as a CSD program, community health diagnosis. So it is there. But the major lagging is our faculty member and our course curriculum is not so oriented to that topic. They teach us how to run SPSS and all, just little bit, so that we can submit a report. But they don't guide us properly how to do this sampling, random sampling, or just simple sampling method. Just they want us to submit a report, and that's the problem. And what students do? They use that as a leisure time, and actually that's not. That's the one of this section where there is not much to study. Study burden is very less, and if we just utilize that time, also we can have so many ideas like running SPSS smoothly, how to get sampling and all, and then we can initiate our research work from there and then only. And also in third year there is field clinical. After clinical, there is the another session of the community. We say that family health visit. There is also that's there, but that is again neglected. So we prefer towards the report writing and all, but we don't do anything rest in scientific way. So basically, research is backbone. We say vertebra is backbone for us. Likewise, in the medical science, the research is the backbone. So based on every evidences we generate, we have to practice our clinical practice. So to modify that also, we need research. And major lagging is evidences here. We don't have evidence. And who will generate the evidence? That's we. We should know how to conduct research properly in scientific way to generate and help the future practice. And from the medical school only, we should learn. Otherwise, we won't get time to learn those things. So we'll get lag. So I want to share my experience with you people. So when I was in my third year, I was just thinking so many things, because I were in first batch of NIHS, so sort of priming batch. So our university, I mean our college was not registered even in the International Medical Education Directory. So then I wrote a letter to the principal for the further processing, and then finally got registered after a year or so. Then another regarding college journal souvenir, I wrote a letter with my team. Then I forwarded it because I was class representative at the time in third year. And another was the regarding UAE, University Allied for Essential Medicine, that is there, and Nepal, only IOM is registered there. So I tried to open another chapter representing NIHS, but I could not. Two of the proposal got accepted, but third one did not. And that was the tough time, you know, like our principal was so strict, and he was like, when I give a proposal to him, he used to give another homework for me. It was really tough. But when starting why we need UAM, I did lots of homework, and during that I just take background of all the founder member and recent member of the UAM, and they were just second and third year in this medical school student, and they were doing lots of research work. They were involved in sort of molecular analysis and all. Then I thought we are lagging because we are not involving in this sort of activities. So I initiated, and I did nothing. Just I tried to ignite a small initiative in this research field. Like just I did prevalence sort of study in most of the department when I got rotated in my clinical rotation, so that people start to think of research. And now with this few year of the tenure when NIH is established, and it's now already people have registered its name in so many places, like you guys are there, and now people also getting involved in so many research articles and doing other sort of work. And for that, I joined JNMA, and I personally talked to Dr. Angel and all, and then this is how I started my research career. And personally, I advise all the medical students and those graduates, please get involved as soon as possible. This is not late, but when you do more lagging, then obviously you will get lagged, and you can't initiate. And beginning is the toughest part of the research work, because you don't know how to do, how to proceed, where to proceed, whom to approach. And if you don't know that, you will get lagged. And in the medical school, this is the best environment for that, because you have community medicine department, you can approach those faculties there. You have IRC, Institutional Ethical Review Committee, they can help you. If you are not involved in any medical school, there is no IRC, you have to approach NSRC, and it is more difficult task for you people. So in the medical school, you can begin simple study, then you can lay the foundation, you know basics, what is pre-research phase, what is research phase, what is post-research phase, what is publication, and all. So it will be easy path for people forward. And obviously, with no doubt, medical student must know how to conduct research ethically and what is research and why it's needed for us. So, okay, I hope that clarify your question.
Yes, and when you're saying this, I realize that how good we have used that platform we got in first year to better foster our skills. And since I've already passed that phase, I'd request our juniors to do that efficiently.
Obviously,
and also, yes, thank you. And I would also like to thank you for all the works you have done in your pioneer years. You have paved us the way for so many things. And when you're saying this, we also need to realize that some of us are complete beginners in this field, and we get overwhelmed by the research articles that flood the journals. And many times, even the journal section of the library remains untouched. So, and it's basically because of the fear of not understanding, right? So,
yeah.
Are there any tips you would like to give for those complete beginners who are willing to get the first glimpse of the research article?
So, okay, well, as you said, library subscribes many journals, and the college or university must do that, because the college or university that is teaching and guiding so many students, and they should expose those students to the world, not just to that university or college only. So to increase the horizon of knowledge, they should subscribe, and that's there in the library. That's just in the library only. You need not to go outside of your college as well. So basically, what I suggest personally is you can utilize your leisure time. You have plenty of leisure time. I know that being we use all those social medias, having so many not useful things like Facebook and all. So I don't advise to utilize your study time in reading those papers. But what I say, in between, when you go to library and read books, you get saturated and you feel bored. At that time, you can just go through that research paper. Just take that. You don't need to go in detail, everything, because it's not needed, and we don't prefer all individual to go through all the papers and know what is written there and then. But just to get sensitized. In the leisure time, like going outside with your colleagues, watching movies, using Facebook and all, you can just go through a paper. Just a paper, and you can see what they are doing. After doing that, you get insight how you can proceed, what people are doing, and what you need to do. Because like the research people are doing in US may not be feasible in your scenario. when you read all those things, which is feasible in US but it's not feasible in your place, it's not the way you should use your time. Rather, you just take the title which is appropriate to your scenario, and then you can get insight what people are doing and what you can do, and then utilize your ideas and then generate sort of research title and proceed to that research. So, as I said, you can utilize your leisure time in between your study and saturation. Then you can just not just a paper, because in the library so many journal will be available. You can just screen through. You can screen through the title of the papers, and when you feel or you are interested in, just read methodology of that section, what they did. After that, you can think, okay, that is within my hand, and that's not. You can decide that by going through methods. And when you went through proper methods and you realize that, okay, that's possible in our setting, then you can plan. You can read more articles regarding that topic. You can then plan properly. You can write a proposal. You can submit that to the IRC, and then you can make a collaborator team to you who will do data collection, who will help in statistical portion and all. Then accordingly you can proceed. So basically, in medical school, though you can't understand all those hi-fi tests, like for example, so logistic regression analysis, this Redman tool, maybe it will be difficult to you people to understand and run. But you can just begin with simple studies, which will be on your hand by going through the papers available in the library and reading. That only give you ideas. Without reading, you won't know what's going on outside and what you can do. So basically, you have to read. Don't get afraid. Many people don't understand what's written in that scientific journal, because that may be written for the specialty. Like a cardiac surgeon might have wrote a paper regarding, say, open heart surgery, and you may get lost because you don't know what they do in the cardiac surgery. So you should not read that sort of paper, but rather you can read some simple papers by just screening through the title, and you can begin. And don't get hesitated by just saying, oh God, this is so tough and all. They are not. When you reread and reread, then you can get what's written there and what they are doing, what you can do and all. So hope that helps you. Is that all right?
Thank you so much. Yes, guys. Thank you so much. So we'll try to keep our fears aside and just venture in that library journal section too, because we feel that we have not been utilizing our resources properly. And you've already emphasized that reading a journal is very crucial for medical students, and told about utilizing your free time as well. But please, could you suggest any easy journal that we could start reading so that we get the motivation? Because the first time understanding kindles the motivation in you to go further and read other complex articles, so that even if you don't read it, even if you don't understand it, then it'll be like, fine, I'll understand it someday. So if a first-year medical student has to go to that library, which journal should he pick up, which is simply illustrated, written well? Are there any suggestions that you could give us?
Okay, well, so I don't preferably suggest you to go through Lancet and Anisium, basically, because they will be doing so nasty sort of tests to just illustrate simple thing, because of the quality and everything that matters to them. But what is applicable, what we can do in our society, that's there. We have our own journal, MJSP's, Medical Journal of Sri Rajendra Hospital is there. You can read that so that you can get an insight of what is there in Sri Rajendra Hospital, because most of the article will be from Sri Rajendra Hospital or associate thing. Likewise, there are so many journals in Nepal Journal Online. There are so many. You can check them. And they do publish. You can get notification if you want to get notified as well as other quality journal. There are 5-6 which is indexed in PubMed. Rest are not. So I prefer you people to suggest like Journal of Nepal NSRC, Nepal Research Council, as well as Journal of Nepal Medical Association, which are multi-speciality. Again, I am emphasizing it. There as well, you better not to go inside paper written by a specialist, which you may not expose to. Like for example, Did you complete your surgery rotation?
Yes, Thai. Third year, we completed our third year surgery rotations.
So, okay, so you might have exposed to some type of surgery, but you may not do all the surgery. And am I right? All type of surgery you may not get exposed, because I know pretty well that you don't have opportunity to get assist and to examine or say to observe all the surgery. So when a paper written by a surgeon regarding some rare surgery, when you read that, you may not get anything. So it will be just like waste of time. So what I suggest is going through multi-specialty journal as well. You should think what is within your scope. So basically, journal publishes article within their scope, and being multidisciplinary journal, they can publish from variety of specialty. But you may not know what they have wrote, being you were not exposed and you don't have knowledge about that field. So reading that multi-specialty journal, you should be aware which is within you. I mean, which paper you can understand and you can replicate. I'm more emphasizing towards which is applicable to you. You know, like otherwise, you reading a paper, you can get insight on the different topic as well, because knowing anything is another sort of curiosity. But at this phase, we want to conduct some research article or some research. So I'm emphasizing with that. So basically, you just screen through the title of the paper. After screening through title, you can get idea which will fit to you, which won't. So after that, you can read the method portion and all. So basically, you can read Journal of Nepal Health Research Council, JNMA, and other teaching hospitals like MJSPS, because they give the perspective from your scenario. If you read article from US best, and because they are using so many hyphen tests, so many hyphen modality of examining a patient and all, which may not be applicable to you. So you should know what is within you first. And to know that, you should read paper or say article published from your scenario. And also you should think that, is it applicable to you? I mean, that is feasible for you to conduct or not. So basically, you will know that by just screening the title and reading paper from your scenario. And for that, I suggest you to read journal from teaching hospital like MJSPS. So many journal you will get. Almost all journal published in the medical field registered in NEPSOL will be there in the library. Please do visit and check. You can get that there and then. Otherwise, you can just check NEPSOL site. NEPSOL will give all the online journal from Nepal, and most of the journal are registered here.
This year, we'll surely keep this in mind when we next time go to library, and you know, if we have fear of going to that section again. We wanted to know that research, it's in itself a hot topic for discussion in any student circle, right? And it's even in ours. Everyone wants to get involved in this, but very few dare to take their founding state. And are there any ways, or you would like to suggest to us, or how can we find ways to do that?
So, well, as I said prior as well, you are having best environment right now, being in the medical college, where you can approach to your faculty member who know something at least about research and all. So for that, you have plenty of opportunity. First, what you can do, you can just take some of the journal paper which are there in the library. So what you can do, what is feasible on you, you can get that from the paper published in journals. Second, you can approach community of medicine department. Also, you can consult with IRC member. There is community medicine departments. On one side, there is the list of the community medicine faculties. And another side, there is the list of the members who are there in the IRC board. Okay, so please do check. So you can consult them. So basically, research should be conducted in ethics best. Right? So there is Helsinki Declaration, which preserves the human right and the right of the participant in the researcher. So you should follow that. So for that, you should consult ethics board, I mean IRC. So basically, NHRC can't examine all the research which will be either ethical or unethical. So they have extended their branches to every medical college, because medical college is, as I said, one where most medical student or associate should conduct research work for many purposes: to generate evidence, to get promoted, and to guide and to involve people in the research as well. You know, so So the NSRC people have extended their branches, and in NHS as well there is IRC where you can approach to get idea. And as I said, ethics is the pre-research phase event. So when you read any article and you thought, okay, so I can do this research in my field, I mean in my scenario, so let's begin with this. At that phase, you will read some more paper associated with that title. So after reading that, you can make a firm conclusion in your mind that I'm gonna do this research in coming days. So after that, you should proceed to the ethics. So you should get clearance later, IRC approval later. So for that, you should submit the proposal, what you are planning to do. So in the pre-research phase, after reading everything associated with, not everything, but basic thing associated with your title, you will generate ideas, then you will write your ideas. Then after, you will submit to the IRC to review. So when they review, they examine first and foremost thing, is it feasible and ethical to conduct in your setting or not? Main thing they will examine that. So if that is feasible, if you are doing okay, or your plan is okay, and there is no any ethical issue, like you are following Helsinki Declaration well, then they will say, okay, proceed. Then accordingly, you have to enter into the research phase. And in that phase, you should collect the data necessary for you people, and then you will, after collection of the data, you will analyze it using appropriate statistical tests, and then you will draw the result section. So accordingly, you have to move. So basically, in the medical college, you have best time, don't delay more. Just from day 0, from today, start to read some paper which you feel appropriate. Try to consult IRC member, try to consult your faculty, try to consult your colleague, try to consult senior who are doing some work. And after consulting that, either you can collaborate with them or you can start on your own to the end of the paper. So, but my sincere suggestion, move ethically.
Yes, and when you're explaining this, you're making this sound so simple. I'm wondering if it's that simple or not. But when we're approaching teachers, seniors, or even friends, it can sometimes be intimidating, right? So
Yeah.
what can we do about it? Based on your experience, how had you done, and how would you like to suggest us to do it?
So well, one thing is, as I said, it is very difficult to begin. Research is very difficult to begin. Everyone say research, do research, do research, but most of them don't say what you need to do, how you need to approach.
Right.
So why they don't do, why they don't share how you need to approach, what you need to do? Because most of them also don't have clear idea of that. So if they are not having clear idea, they will hesitate to tell detail. And main thing is as I said, most of them might not be getting involved in those sort of activities, so may not be guiding people well. So for now, I'm saying my experience. As I said, I started to work on some paper during my end of the second year and third year, basically. So I get involved in JNMA from my second year onwards. I used to attend the simple session, like Dr. Angel used to guide. I hope you have attended that session during internship and sort of program. That is pretty good. I tried my best to guide my junior batches when I was there in the NASS, but they were not interested, and I felt that why I'm doing this if they are not interested at all. So I just stopped there and then because I were already having busy time in my internship. But I was trying to involve them in other paper and promoting them to get involved. But unfortunately, I could not do that in that tenure. So, but nowadays people are very active and they are mailing and they are messaging me how to get involved and all. And so I'm suggesting them pretty well. I hope they will do good job in coming days, right? Doing research. Main thing is when you get sensitized, what's research, what you need to do. Then there and then you start to read about papers and all, examine the paper, what did they, how did they did their job. So after doing that, you will get firm idea. So basically, what I say, don't feel intimidated, because even right now, my faculty member from NASS, they do mail me how to approach, what to do, where to approach and all. So I do guide them. This is the field. This is the field of learning. So learning never ends. So while you are learning, which you don't know, you should not feel intimidated and like low. So you ask to the appropriate person, like when you attend JNMA session, you can ask Dr. Angel and other people who are there and participant or your collaborator. In the college, you can ask, as I said, community medicine department member, IRC member. If they don't have a fair idea and they could not explain something, you can ask to me as well as of people who are involved in. You can get clarified with the thing. And as I said prior, I again will say, please do think. Ethical is must. When I was doing my internship and my clinical rotation, I share many ideas to my faculty member. Most of the time I used to talk with my teacher and seniors, and I used to share what we can do, what data we have, what data we can generate in this setting. So that's how I used to generate proposal. After my clinical rotation used to end, I used to come in my room and I used to search about the topic. What is ongoing around now regarding that topic? And what is feasible in our setting? I used to examine. I wrote so many proposals. I used to write a proposal within a day or two after reading so many papers, because my job is to come back in the room and read papers and then generate ideas, what we can do in our setting. So at that time I wrote a lot. So many of them could not complete it. Because of the time constraint, because of the lack of collaborator and all, I could not, because I have to follow patient, I have to generate enough time to get involved in data collection part, and I could not collect all, data from all patients at a time. So what to say, that was a bad experience with me, but I aborted some of the paper where I was working, and later those I could complete, I work on and I publish that in the journals. So basically, at this point of time, I advise, don't feel low. If you don't know, ask. You have right to ask. Yeah? Nobody will say why you ask this. Yeah? So if fewer people do say so, don't feel low. Ask another people. And you can ask to senior, you can ask to friend, you can ask to your teacher. You have so many options. You know, you are in medical college, you are a senior, you have your teachers, and if not, you have library. Yeah? There is access to Inari, there is access to many journals, and you can generate ideas. So please, as I said, beginning is the main thing, and it's difficult time. So begin right now.
Thank you, Bai, for your inspiring words as well. So after this, when we start our research, we start with so much of enthusiasm, and you said you had your highs as well as your lows, and many a times when we do that, collect all the data, do the literature review, we have put such an amount of effort and we do everything with so much of care, and then afterwards when we go forward with publication, even submitting a manuscript can be so intimidating at times as to, shall I click this button or shall I not, and what is the next step, will the next step appear? So that intimidation is there, but afterwards when we are so excited with that paper and feel that our work can contribute something, what if our paper gets rejected from a journal? So I'd like to ask, have you ever got a journal rejection? And
Okay.
starting with that enthusiasm, how does it feel to get rejected? And what should we do after getting rejected?
Okay, well, so there are so many rejection I got. I didn't feel any sort of bad, though when it gets rejected many times from many journals, it will obviously, but it is a part of processing an article, manuscript, to enhance and improve the quality of the paper. You know, around 50% of the research work which we do won't publish at all. They get rejected. They won't publish. And the rest will publish. And that also depends on the scope of the journal, quality of the work they did. Everything matters. Publishing is one of the, I say, very difficult tasks. Doing research is not so difficult, maybe. And it's like, you know, playing football with editors versus we authors. We want to do goal. The editors are defending. They don't want. They are seeking us. So many times I got rejected. I got rejected from JNMA. I got rejected with so many international journals. But that's not like rejecting at rejecting for forever. That's not right. Why did reject? Maybe the article you wrote or you have worked is not within their scope. Because all journal can't publish all the papers they get, no? You know, hope you got it. Another, formatting. You wrote an article, well, you wrote well, but that's not within the format of the journal. I don't know you have checked paper or not, but every journal have their own unique formatting. Some paper want a table and figure to be within the main text. Some want that to be in the separate file. Some want that to be in the later part of the paper. Some want some referencing in APA, some in Vancouver style. Even the structure may be different. For the same thing, like for example, background information of your work which you did. Some want you to write background. Some wants you to write just introduction. Someone may not want that. Some just want aims and objective of paper. And even I have seen that some people don't want heading like methods, result, discussion and all. It was interesting, you know, like Frontiers sort of say series of journal. They don't like result and discussion section. They rather want unique sort of heading. I got surprised. They don't have discussion heading. And so if the article is not structured in the way they want, they will reject. And you know, rejection is also in different steps they do. One is from editorial desk. So what happens when we send an article to a journal? First, the mail is got by a editor or chief editor. They see that and they screen whether that article is appropriate to that journal or not, whether that article is structured well or not, whether that article is suitable or not. They just screen and judge on their own basis. See, an editor will judge. You wrote a paper, you send it, or editor will judge. Although your article may be structured well, although you might have wrote well, everything is fine. Maybe that article may be within that scope of the journal, but you may get rejected because that is judged by a single editor. Editor will see or sort of editor who will assign for that. They will judge and they will reject there and then. So decision is upon editors. Then after one, if editor want that journal article to be screened, they will send to the reviewer and the reviewer will send comments. After that also, article can be rejected. Many times we get that reviewer comment stating that is not within the scope of that journal, or that is not a publishable article because of so many flaws like this, they will list and send. And that comments is very important thing. So that we can improve our paper now after that comment. Although the article is rejected from journal, they will provide a comment if the article is peer reviewed and after that is rejected. So then we can improve the quality of the paper and submit to the another journal. So that's the opportunity for us now. One thing. Next is, as I said, it is just editorial best thing to reject. There are so many examples. I hope you heard that. It's, in the JNMA session, Dr. Andrew used to quote, even Nobel Prize winner journal article rejected by prestigious journal like BMJ or sort of thing, that will be accepted by first submission by another journal like Anisium with the message that fantastic job, you did well and so and so. So basically it's editorial decision. So you can't say that. Whether that will be accepted fully or will be rejected. But one thing keep in mind, rejection is not a big deal. You will get rejected, another journal will accept. And right now there is also another game going on. Publish or perish. If you publish, you will publish that paper. If you not, another journal will publish. So basically, this game also making some conflicts in the medical field. Like recently, Mehra et al. Published a big size paper, Lancet and Anisium. Both got retracted regarding COVID. I don't know you heard of it or not. So that's like you do publish or perish game. If you publish, you will publish. Otherwise, other will publish. So there is a competition between journals who will publish it. Then they will publish, but they may not examine everything, every aspect of the paper, and they will backdraw. Like the Lancet, having journey of around 200 years, and now people tweeted like Lancet has died. So basically, it's just an individual decision, but you should not feel low when you get rejected. You should rather improve your quality of your paper, submit to the another journal. They may accept it if that's the substantial quality is there, and that journal article meets the requirement of the journal. So rejection is just a process. They try to defend, we try to goal it. So that's it.
This is interesting. I find it quite interesting when you're explaining all this. And basically, we need to remember that we are not to be disheartened whenever we get a rejection, right?
Right.
And the example that you use of a footballer, I found it so cool, and I'm definitely going to use it whenever I'm going to talk about this to another person. Right, so moving ahead. Biostatistics is how important biostatistics is for a researcher, and do you really need to have a detailed knowledge of biostatistics too?
Okay, so fine. As I said prior, biostat is the one thing which is very difficult to the medical student, but it is really must know stuff. If you don't know biostat, you can't interpret the research finding. If you can't interpret it, you don't know what's written there. It's really like awkward. If you don't know what is written there, you can't interpret it. So it will be like a piece of paper and you can just throw it in the dustbin, but you can't understand what's written there. So biostat should know well. As I said prior, for same inference, people can use different tests, so-called hi-fi tests. Just to get inference to that point, or people can use a type of test which they feel appropriate. Another set of researchers may use another sort of test which they feel appropriate. One test might be simple to interpret, another might be very difficult to interpret. You know, so people may make things complex by using different statistical tool and tests. So if you want to be a master, you should know biostat very well. If you don't know odds ratio, hazard ratio, risk ratio, attributable risk ratio and all, what is number needed to treat, what is number needed to harm, they will interpret like this. Odds of having this disease is this in this group of people. Okay, what is they are saying odds of having odds, and even we used to interpret in that way, but what is this odd mean? So basically you should know what is odds ratio, where we can use odds ratio, where we use risk ratio and all. So if you know well, and if you have an idea of this, if you know what is significant, what is p-value, what is confidence interval, and basically you should know those measures of distribution, mean, median, mode, and these standard deviation, variance. If you don't have the idea of that, it will be difficult for you people to understand what is written there. So main thing we are lacking is the statistics. I can say surely most of the statistics in Nepal are not based on biomedical field. So they don't understand what we are saying, and we can't understand what they are saying because we should have statistical knowledge. So for now, please just know basic concept. Basic concept in what? This distribution, measure of distribution, mean, median, mode, statistical difference, variance and all, then odds ratio, hazard ratio, or risk ratio, and attributable risks, this number needed to read, number needed to run, because they do interpret this thing. Research article based on this. Most of the experimental study is based on NNT interpretation. So we did analysis based on number needed to treat. So what do you understand by that? If you don't know what is number needed to treat, you would be in Fixu. Or what they are saying, I can't understand it. So basically, so I'm not saying you know everything at first, right? Because I also was not having those ideas like what is number needed to treat and all during my third year. But basically, I went through a paper and all, then I found it. Okay, this is it. So basically, at your stage right now, first you just understand what is the different this measure of distribution, how they generate it, how they measure it, and all. Then after reading papers, you will get ideas what is that. And if you don't know at that time, you can search and you can get, because everything is there in the Google. As our friends used to say, "Oh, Google Baba is there." And I hope you know how to search in Google, because he used to say many times you must master in it. And he used to challenge us as well. So basically, please try it, read it. Main thing is read until you know. And try to search, you will get it. And if you don't know, ask your seniors and teacher, you can. I will clarify somehow. Statistics is the basic fundamentals as well as backbone. Without that, you can't interpret. Result is wholly based on the strategy, you know. Result is the main thing. Na? When you do some research, result is the main thing. The other thing like how you did, whether you did in a good way or not, that's there. Ethical issue and all are there. But result is main thing. That has main impact. And if your result is not interpreted well, not using statistics and not doing in a well manner, it is nothing. That won't give sort of impact. No? So basically statistics is that thing. You must know how to interpret, and you should write using proper statistical tests to interpret your result of your research paper. So for now, you just start to begin with simple thing like this measure of distribution, the p-value, significance, and all, confidence interval. If you know this much of thing right now, and when you start to do this sort of thing like research and all, you can read other paper and you will get ideas later in the days. Okay.
Thank you so much, that because many of us hold back because we feel that we don't have the knowledge of statistics. So we understand that while during the research process or reading as well, we can side by side take the knowledge of biostatistics, and we don't need to have a detailed knowledge before we venture into this. So as you had said that when you initiated an organization, you realized that it was run by second-year medical students, and you felt like how backward we were. So talking about our friends who second-year medical students from many different countries like Philippines and even Thailand, they present their systematic reviews and meta-analysis in conferences, and we'll be there sitting where we haven't even done the first prevalence study, being in third year of medical school. So that's a kind of thing that we contemplate on. So we saw the message that you started and ventured into systematic review recently. So we would like to ask you, how can we conduct one? Is it even possible in a setting like Nepal and being a medical student? And because we always fear that it's too complex, that it's the highest level of evidence. So can we as medical students do it? And if we want to do it, what are the prerequisites that are necessary?
Okay, well, preferably I advise beginner to begin with simple cross-sectional study. I hope that also said by the Dr. Angel. Even I tried to conduct a randomized control trial, but it was not possible for me. So I avoid it. As I said, I have I got so many concepts, and I read so many papers and generated ideas, but some of were not feasible in our setting, as well as not possible due to time constraints. So I avoided them. For now, just for now, okay. So after that, you can do that. For now, I advise you to do cross-sectional study. Simple, like knowledge that is used in practice best. You can use Likert scale, or you can use standardized questionnaire to, or you can replicate similar study done by other student or other colleague in the other medical college. Then you can get ideas. So what is research is? So what is IRC approval? What is pre-research phase? What we can do? What we should do and all. Next, how we conduct a cross-sectional study first. You know, after that, with having those ideas, you can move ahead. No doubt, we can do RCTs. We can do this systematic review. But what we need? We need appropriate resources, appropriate amount of time, which may not be available in medical school. Being a, you know, like to finish all those curriculum stuff in time, to attend exam and all, that is also there, no? So you can't fully focus on research part only. Otherwise, we can, with no doubt, we can do systematic review, meta-analysis, being a medical student as well. But for a beginner, start with cross-sectional study, simple case reporting, because you know most of the faculty member, like so-called MD, after MD as well, they do reporting, case reporting and all. Not in Nepal only, in foreign country as well. So no need to jump in the RCT and systematic review meta-analysis at first. But what you do? Do simple studies first. To get ideas, you know, like in systematic review, what we do? We use odds ratio, relative risk, hazard ratio to interpret the finding. You know, and you don't know what are the measure of distribution, how we do this and all, and how you can interpret odds ratio and relative risk, hazard ratio, median, the mean distribution, standard of mean distribution to calculate the meta-analysis and all. So it will be difficult for you at first, you know. So I strongly advise do some case reporting, simple cross-sectional study. Then, if you want to do systematic review, go through Cochrane Handbook. Cochrane Handbook of Systematic Review. Cochrane is the one we are having major chunk of this systematic review and registered trials there. Prospero is there where we can get all the trial ongoing, registered, and other clinical trials are also there published site now. But to do a systematic review, you should have broad ideas of everything what is done on the topic. You should source all the available databases. First of all, you should know how to source for that, how to source systematically in the all databases available, like for example PubMed, Inbase and all. If you don't have idea how to source, your methodology will be weak. You will be having more chance of doing wrong thing. And as you said properly, this is the highest level of evidence. And if you do some wrong thing and giving wrong impression, what will happen to you? It will defame you, for no doubt. Recently I read a meta-analysis in the Medrex, this preprint site. Many of people have tweeted that research as meta-analysis, defaming the authors now. So basically, when you do a meta-analysis without knowing everything of the topic, that will defame you, because people need adequate and good quality evidence, and not having ideas of basic and doing everything in rampant way will defame you, will give bad impression at first. So I strongly advise to first cross-sectional simple study, have plenty of ideas of it, so that you can do it, everything. Nothing is impossible for you people. If you have really the curiosity of that thing, you can. But first you should know, I will just give a glance how we do systematic review. We should know what is the appropriate topic for now. If systematic review, similar systematic review meta-analysis done in plenty of number, then no need to do the same thing, because everyone knows that. We are generating evidence, and that evidence is already generated there. No point of doing same thing like in the systematic review. You can do in prevalence study, cross-section study, you can replicate it. But in meta-analysis, systematic review, no need to replicate similar. If that is already there, no need to do more. You got it? So if there is newer paper, newer randomized control trial, newer quad studies or sort of studies are there, where you thought or where you think that, okay, so now so many evidences, newer studies has added, but no recent studies is there. So you think that, okay, so let's try what we can get. You can decide there. You got it? So if not, doing meta-analysis is of no point if there is already so many meta-analysis on the topic is there and no any contribution you are going to get. I forgot to mention about doing research is one for you people. You can get the title, entitlement, you can get praise. Oh, I did this. Next to the fraternity. Okay, by my research, this will aid this evidence so that people can utilize my paper to do more. Like this. And other researcher. From your research, by reading that, they can practice based on your paper, one thing. Next, you will raise some question. Where we have to work more? Where is the lagging field? So, other people can do research on that title, the lagging part, to generate evidences. So basically, that's the thing. Not for the titlement only. You should contribute to some fraternity. You should contribute to the other people as well. So, purpose of research is that. And for that, please know basics. How to conduct cross-sectional, how to report a case. And after that, you can do systematic review. For systematic review, you should know how to search properly. You have to prepare a proposal, if any you want. Then you can either register with Prospero, but Cochrane database systematic review only needs Prospero mandatorily. Otherwise, you may not need to prepare a proposal for other type of review, other journal review. Cochrane needs Prospero registration. Otherwise, not. Then, after searching properly, you should screen for the paper, quality of paper. Whether that paper is of good quality, bad quality, bias assessment should be done. For that, you should know what is bias is, what are the types of bias. So what type of bias could be in the paper? Which maybe in published paper, there could be so many bias. For systematic review, we have to assess that. There are so many tools available in the bias assessment. We can just use RevBan for the RCTs. For other type of paper, like observational quad study case series, we have NSLBI and other type of tool. 8-point scoring, 14-point scoring system, so many. So for that, you should know what is bias, how to assess that. After bias assessment screening, when you got so many paper, like the 10, 15 sort of thing, now you have to do quantitative synthesis, meta-analysis. In systematic review, just you need to get qualitative synthesis only, just inference only. For quantitative, you need to do meta-analysis. For meta-analysis, you should do having ideas like You should know how to run Redman. Redman and other tools are there, but I am giving common example because Redman is the tool commonly used by the Cochrane database systematic review. So in the Redman, you should know how to run Redman, what are the tests available, how to check for heterogeneity, what is IV, inverse of variance analysis, what are the appropriate model like fixed or say random effect model. We can use fixed effect, random effect model. So what is the type of the data? Is it the dichotomous or the continuous type? So basically everything you should know for the data regarding quantitative. So it may take time to learn. So at this phase, I strongly advise you to do first some cross-sectional simple studies. Then meanwhile you can get ideas of all those statistic part. Then you can do systematic review and meta-analysis with no doubt. I hope this clarifies your questions.
Sure, I will make note of this. And it was a lot of information. I think we need some time to contemplate on that. We are often told that we need to have articles that are related to the subject when we're applying for the residency, and that would make us easier to get the seat. For us who haven't even figured out our area of interest for the residency, how can we make sure of this?
Okay, well, so as I said, article is not for your purpose only. It has multiple purposes. Writing or doing a research means, obviously, it will give credit to you. Okay, well, I did this paper, I did this work, one. Next, for other benefit, like as you said, for the matching, if you are applying for residency, if you are already a faculty side, like for example, lecturer, you need two papers, one with main, one with the co-author to get promoted in associate. You need 4 papers from associate to the professor. So you got it. So you need publication for your promotion as well. That's for you people only, who are doing that paper, for them only. For other, you need to contribute to a fraternity. So let's, for example, if you are a surgeon, you are doing some procedure. Like for example, let's say this phase procedure for the chronic pancreatitis. You are doing that. So what is your experience? You want to share, no? So I'm doing phase procedure and now I'm getting this sort of result. So other people will say, okay, so in phrase, these are the benefit and these are the harm. So we prefer to go with phrase or other procedure like Vipas and all. Other procedure also there, no alternative. So they will ask that. So that contributes to the judgment and decision making by generating the evidences. Got it? So to contribute to the fraternity. Even by doing simple case study, you can contribute it. But your title and your topic should be appropriate to the thing. Next, to the other people, as I said, in other researcher. When you do a paper or research work to a topic, you will analyze, you will do something, you will find something. But at the conclusion, you will say, what are the limitations of your paper? What you found lagging? You mentioned, no? So these things are lagging. These should be analyzed more. What that is? Oh, other interest. Oh, okay. So I want to do some work in the malaria. So you said, okay, malaria, I will use strains in body. So other people will say, okay, so let's try to figure out why this strain is going up or something. So they will then later do analysis and research work on that title. So this is how we contribute. So basically, we should not think about on only. We should not think about just matching only. Though you should have idea. As I said, research is the backbone in the medical field. You should know everything about it, but you should not think about just you people only. You should think about people as well. Other people who are around you also you should consider in the that work when you are doing it. Okay, what will be the impact? Next thing, you can think about, okay, so I will do simple study on this, but you should at the same time think about other people and follow the ethics. Obviously, with no doubt, it will help in residency and further career in your days ahead, but also we have to think. Hope you got it. So obviously, no doubt, it has role in matching and all. So, but though you are not thinking about matching and all, though you are not planning about residency and all, that does not mean that you should not do research, right? You must know what is research, how we do, what is its impact as well, so that you can conduct it ethically. So you should follow proper IRC guideline, NSRC guideline, and do accordingly.
Thank you, guys. So our pursuit of research shall contribute to a larger community rather than just focusing on ourselves. And I think that is how we'll contribute to the medical fraternity in days to come. And as someone as our first batch senior who has already gone into medical practice and are experiencing the clinical fields as well, I would want to ask, the scenario of research is very different in our country as compared to other countries. So what value does research hold in modifying the healthcare system, or where are we lacking that you have felt based on your experiences?
Okay, well, so I have practiced for 2 years in the periphery. I have seen plenty of type of various type of disease, various type of cases because I used to handle every disease at periphery level. So people are lacking evidence-based practice with no doubt. Another part is research. We are obviously lagging with so many things, including research and evidence-based practice, as I said prior as well. We don't have adequate literature even regarding prevalence. We don't have country-wide prevalence to the many diseases. So how can we practice? Even we don't have the prevalence as well. So it is very difficult. But I want to share one example. While in the clinic, I used to have so many fever patients, obviously, in the seasons. In some febrile illness patient, when we evaluate by lab workup, I used to get so many patients with pancytopenia, thrombocytopenia only sort of patient. When I get so many patients with thrombocytopenia, but not having dengue and all, not fitting to the dengue classification, so I just checked through UpToDate. I read so many papers published in the prior days, and that I found that in around 2012 onwards, there were more than 100 papers published on the fever with thrombocytopenia syndrome (FTP), fever with thrombocytopenia syndrome (FTS). Oh, then I realized, what was that? I just tried to examine. Then I found that that's just a viral fever with thrombocytopenia association caused by some virus like Gunia virus category. And I just followed them with some supportive care with proper advice. You should follow so that I can check these parameters. So if not corrected within this time frame, you need further test. So then later I found that so many patients got improved. So basically that's the impact of research. If not, I might have advised patient to go with more invasive procedure, which may have done more harm. Also, we have to think of the finances and all. So that could be leading to burden to the family, financial burden. So basically, I did not advise at first to go with this bone marrow biopsy and bone marrow aspiration and all at first. I just want, is that the same thing? So then I found it. So basically, evidence is like that. So when we have evidence on hand, we can practice on based on that, and we can take clinical judgment. So obviously, we should have clinical judgment. We can't practice based on just the paper, but we should have clinical judgment, and we decide what to do next. So if in some patient, even I got some patient with like let's say platelet of 20,000 having menorrhagia and bleeding from gum and all. On those sort of patient, I should not say, okay, so this is a fever with this, so let's wait and watch. No, vitals may be deteriorated due to their bleeding, and also I advise immediately to go with higher center to do this. Accordingly, I should act. So basically, this is the level of impact of the evidences on the clinical practice. So this is just an example. So in many fields it applies. So basically, please do make habit of reading papers, reading research, how to search effectively, and how to use that data in the clinical practice. I do practice according to ACC 2017 guidelines based for hypertension. I do practice based on ADA, American Diabetes Association guideline 2018 for the diabetes. So you should update it. Even IHS, this International Hypertension Society, have given guideline for stroke and all. Recently, this ACR, this Rheumatology Society gave the guideline for the gout management. So you should follow it. For that, you should read papers. Otherwise, you won't be knowing that what is published, what is ongoing. Because to get thing in the paper, it will take around 10 years or more in our context. You read about gynecology, na? Your theory portion of gynae has covered, right? Is that so? So, what is the cutoff for the active and the latent phase of the bird? Do you know? When we have to fill the partograph. So, when you need to start.
More than 4 centimeter.
Oh yeah, it is there. That is 4 centimeter in the book, but it's not now. In around 2011-12, one article is published to analyze the data. Like when the transition occurs from inactive or say latent phase to active phase. Say second stage of the labor, when it begins and we need to fill the partograph. So that was already evaluated in 2012. It's not there in our book. Our standard book is not updating that thing. So you are reading the whole thing. So it was in 1960s or 70s. They did so many patient they examined, and then they found that okay, from this active phase start. But later that we reevaluated in 2012, that another finding came out. It's now 6 centimeter. Only after 6 centimeter that active phase starts. They are saying right now. So it is updated by 2017 in the most of the USMLE books, but not in our curriculum books. See the difference. So when you read paper of those things, or you will get that thing in time. But be sure that while writing an exam, you have to be aware. Otherwise, if you write 6 centimeter and your faculty is just saying about 4 centimeter and not updating data, you get failed. There is chance of failing as well. But interesting thing is, we are not updating our thing, but things get changed like that. You know, hypertension definition, JNC 8 was there. But disparity between JNC 8 and 2017 ACC ASC guideline is so heaven and hell difference is there. So why we need to cut down the blood pressure transition to the lower, they are explained well. So if you read paper updating those things, you will know this. Otherwise, you will just read JNC8 and all, then you will just write and practice that only. And people will say that, okay, 150, 90 blood pressure is normal. So like that thing happened. Okay, so based on the evidence, we should update it as well. So okay, continue ahead.
Nice. So we learned so much from you, and I think we won't be scared to venture into this as well. And it seems so exciting to read a paper as well.
So we also received some emails regarding the questions that they wanted to ask you particularly. And we got one from our very own senior Dai, Soumya Pahari. And he has has always been inspired by your brilliance, as we all have been. And he has asked that how do we begin getting into research from med school, and what resources do we need, what background we need to study first. I think it's been covered somehow, but if there's anything you need to add.
Okay, well, so I explained well, I think, in the questions. Basically, to begin is one of the hardest thing to prime in this field. But as a beginner, you should go visit library journal section. You just check few of the journal paper, like for example, MGSCS journal is there, Journal of the Conduct Medical College, for example, KMC is there, so many are there. Just check through. Or in other way, you can, now you are at home, so you can try Nepzol, Nepal's journal online site, where there's almost all journal are there from all medical college. So when you go and just check archive, you can get everything. Or in other way, you can also try NetMed, where you can see this NSRC, JNM and all, they are there. Or you can directly go into journal site, where you can face the paper and read. After reading, as I said, after reading the title of the paper, you will get, okay, so this is reading, this study is about this disease. Okay, so this is my interest. So read methods. Okay, what they did. After reading methods, you will get few idea, because methodology should be clear so that people can replicate similar study in the other setting. So they should write that in clear way with explaining everything. So they do. And when you read the methods, okay, so they did this, which is feasible to me as well. Okay, let's begin with this. So if you generated enough idea or say enough consideration on the topic, then now you have to search on that topic as well. So you search in Google. You know how to search in Google. You can try power searching with Google. So you can check filter and all, then you can find so many papers related to that topic. So when you get so many papers in the topic, you can get fair ideas. What is the current trend on that topic? You know, current trend. What is ongoing now? You should be updated now. You should not doing paper like done in 30 years back or sort of thing. You know, so what is ongoing in the topic? Okay, so the article you read is current. The current scenario is going on that sort of paper. So okay, then plan it. Plan. Then try to write proposal. Write everything you want to express, what you want. Then after you fit in this proposal. There are so many formats. You can try with NSRC format if you want to submit in the NSRC for proposal consideration. You can write in simple our IRC, NHIRC, if you want to submit in IRC of the NHS. Then being a medical school, one thing I forgot to mention, most of the time they advise to have a guide who is already graduated or faculty. I forgot to mention. So So when you consider a guide, they should be having fair idea what next to do. They may not contribute in all sections, but they just guide. So they are guide, or say supervisor. They will supervise you. So for a medical student, they advise that. Right? Most of the time, they should have either supervisor or guide who is already graduated or expert in that field, or your teacher themselves. So after proper study on the topic, you wrote everything, then send that thing to your supervisor, or say your senior, or say your guide. Then you will give some suggestion. Okay, so that's great. You did some idea on this topic. So let's modify it like this. So this will help you in the construction or the refinement of the proposal. Then you will submit the proposal to the IRC. Then they will review, and then everything is okay. They will ask, okay, proceed. They will give a letter, IRC approval letter. Then you can proceed accordingly because you are having approval now. That is like consent. You can't examine a patient without consent. Isn't so? So IRC will give the consent to do a research work. So when you get a consent, you can proceed. After that, you will collect data. You will do everything. We should do in time frame. Okay, so for a month you collect data. Now you enter the data, like in the first year days, spaces entry and all. You can use EP data and all to enter. You enter the data, you analyze it with the appropriate test. Now you can consult statistician if you are in doubt. See which test to use: chi-square test or another test like Man-Whitney test or Fisher test, or say our test like, for example, log regression analysis. So which is appropriate to your data? Talk with your statistician, a faculty member. Okay, well and good. You did good, sir. You can use chi-square test because you are doing cross-sectional study and just trying to see the system. Then okay, chi-square test is appropriate for the ordinal variable. Then they will say, okay, well done, you can use this. They will advise you. After that, you will analyze the data and take the inference and try to write manuscript. While writing manuscript, you should consider the guideline. What is your target journal? For example, let's say I want to submit my article to the NSRC. Then okay, then take the publication published in the NSRC. So you take the format of the NSRC published paper, then you restructure your paper to the NSRC format. Then you submit, then only they will consider. If your structure is haphazard, you have not considered the author's guideline, and quality of work is not good, they will straightforward reject the paper. So basically, you should follow the author's guideline to make paper. And then after peer review, if everything is fine, editor will send peer for the peer review, and you will get comments, you rectify, then your paper will publish. So this is the journey of publishing a paper. It seems like publishing a paper, but behind the publication, there are so many tasks which need to be covered. So hope this will clarify this question.
Thank you, Lai. So we have learned a lot from you, and we heard so many things about research, and you've always been an inspiring senior. So is there anything you would like to say to juniors and everyone who's listening to us?
Okay, well, so as I said, research is the main thing in the medical field. You should know what is research, how we conduct research, what is the value of research, and how our practice will change based on research. So after knowing that, you must know how to conduct. So basically, you start to do research work. And as I said, medical student life is the best time because you have plenty of time. So utilize your leisure time. Utilize your leisure time, study paper, publish in the good journal, try to follow ethics, and follow some of the senior for instruction and guidance or your faculty, and go ahead. Don't feel hesitant to ask anything you don't know. But don't do mistakes. When mistakes or flaws get published, if there is big flaws, the article may get retracted. And to get in retraction list, that is defaming it. So basically, so I advise, please do read paper published in good journal, try to conduct some paper in ethical ways, and apply it in your life. Because our field is changing with time, with evidences. So please to apply it in your career. So this will give good result in coming days. You will grow as a researcher, as a clinician. So it will give credit to you as well as it will improve your fraternity. It will improve the quality of the colleague as well. So this is not just for you to do. So first of all, you should realize research is not for you only. It's for the whole community, research community. So okay, this was a good session for you with you people, and I tried to explain everything you want to know to my best. Hope this help you. If not, let me know where we have to. I mean, I have to explain to you people so that it will help you people in the days ahead. It was a good moment to share with you people.
We're so immensely proud, and we take all the pleasure that we got this opportunity to host you. And I'm sure that as we learned so many things today, our listeners will also learn a lot from you. And basically, we cannot thank you enough for being so modest and so humble.
So actually, like what I say is, it's my role and responsibility to guide you people. If there inquiries from your batch or sort of thing, you can definitely consult me, as well as I said, you can consult your other senior, your faculty member for more guidance if needed.
And this brings us to the end of today's episode. And it became one long session, but definitely a worthy one. We hope to come up with more useful content. And in the meantime, if there's anything you'd want us to cover or want to collaborate with us, you can always mail us at podcastnhs@gmail.com. See you soon. Take care. Bye bye.